Professor Liu, do you think that when the US says that it will escort the resupply missions, do you think that that will be with the Coast Guard or the Navy?
Basically, I should think that it has to be Coast Guard because currently there is a gray area whether this is something direct conflict or just a clash between two sides. And I think if the US does send a Coast Guard, a company, or escort the Philippines ship for resupply purpose, it would even further complicate the situation on the ground. And I'm hoping basically the US should not do so. Otherwise, the situation will become very complicated to be solved. But of course, it is the right time and also fully understandable in the region that the US would have a full commitment to such a treaty alliance for such a security protection.
Let me bring Tony in.
I think the U.S. is trying to demonstrate resolve on its commitment to a friend because the U.S. couldn't figure it out, or U.S. is not sure if this is a test by the Chinese on U.S. resolve to help a friend, because that could very well be China's test to see if U.S. couldn't commit to helping Philippines, would U.S. commit to helping Taiwan? So I think it's important. I'm sure somebody's considering this in Washington, also over at Hawaii, whether this is actually a test by the Chinese. Therefore, should U.S. act? Of course, there's always the risk of escalation. And hopefully the United States, if and when we do deploy the Coast Guard ships, they will be equipped with non-lethal systems such as sound wave and microwave, in addition to water cannon.
But are you saying that if the US was to escort the Philippines, are you saying that China would still attempt to stand in the way, to ram the US vessels, or Philippine vessels?
They will not ram with the Coast Guard ships. They will use the military militia, the small boats, because most people don't know this. Where China has challenged many U.S. warships in South China Sea by having these maritime militias get in front of the U.S. ships and throw these humongous wooden logs to force U.S. ships to change direction or stop to avoid damage. Obviously, this is illegal and dangerous, but they know U.S. wouldn't use weapons against these militia ships, the so-called fishing boats. So I suspect they'll use same tactics.
Okay, Philippine Armed Forces Chief of Staff Romeo Brawner says the Philippines still has options available. He said US support will be the last resort when all other options are exhausted, as the country prefers to carry out resupply missions independently. And yet, following the latest helicopter resupply, both the Chinese Coast Guard and Foreign Ministry lashed out. Spokesperson Gan Yu said such risky behavior by the Philippine side is highly prone to causing unexpected incidents at sea or in the air. Professor Liu, does that sound like a threat to you?
China gradually, of course, the frequency is increasing. Over the last almost 20 years, China, when its capability, Coast Guard capability, becomes number one in the world. And obviously, China shows its capabilities, is overwhelm everyone. So they have really make their presence almost everywhere inside the so-called 10-dash lines. Yeah. So I don't think this is can be singled out as this aggressive or dangerous behavior.
Because let me quote to you what China think tank South China Sea Situation Probing Initiative said. Should the Philippines continue its air intrusions, and it was talking about the helicopter resupply, China will be forced to take corresponding measures. Friction or even collisions in the air could have consequences more severe than ship collisions.
Yes. I know this is not something that we have not seen before. If the situation becomes much tenser, the Chinese media or think tank people will come up to appear to the Philippines. Something is coming on the way. But I should say, of course, currently, I'm hoping this mutual consultation mechanism, which happened back in July 2nd, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs from...
For second Thomas Scholl.
Yes,
Yeah.
the meeting was held in Manila and came up with such a peaceful, short cool down. But later on, something obviously changed to much extreme way.
Tony, but what's the next logical step if the Philippines cannot, for example, get through by sea, it cannot get the supplies through by air, by a helicopter, then it would seem that it would need to turn to the US as the last resort, which is not what China wants.
Right, or Filipino give up. So right now, China believe might is right, and right now they are might. So they will continue to enforce. Even when you try to talk, they will try to make sure they get to the end that they want through talks. So I think it's important to continue to hold Filipino to hold the ground. And remember, appeasement is never a good solution when you're faced with countries like China. Therefore, if China continue to issue this type of warning, and I do feel it is a threat, then I think Filipino seriously should consider, since they don't have the same might, maybe they need to have friends to help them.
Right, which they have. The US has said it's ready and willing to escort.
Right, I think obviously diplomacy is the desired way to solve a problem. However, through the years, you look at how China does, is trying to, they think the means justify the end. So I think if they can't get to the end by one means, which is through negotiation, they will continue to pursue the more aggressive side. So therefore, you need to counter that somehow and meet with that. Meet aggressiveness with aggressiveness.